Sunday, July 1, 4:40 a.m. Just woke up. Slept okay. I feel good this morning. 6 nights, I have slept well. I will always wish I could spend my summer in West Virginia. I know it would be good for me. 4:50 a.m. By pacing myself in all of my actions, I think I am going to be able to finish my vacation through the month of July. Get to visit a week with each of my 5 children. And with Cliff in Crown Point, Indiana. Maybe 10 or 12 days. Just hope I don't spoil it all by being such an added expense or expecting too much from my children. I have never received such affection as I have received at Chuck and Phyllis. Chuck has been the friendliest person. He seems to want me to be happy. Phyllis does her best to see that I have everything I need and want, and her children, 3 boys and a girl, are trying to see that I have everything I want is done for me. I'll put her 4 children up against the world for courtesy, politeness, and affection. 5:05 a.m. I'm so happy I learned in time that a fella can just stand so much. When I returned to Clearwater in May and entered hospital, a very sick man, I began to realize that a man can just go so far. When I was at Chris and Karen's for 2 days, and my other children were called by Chris, and his doctor said after checking me that he thought I should enter the clinic in Portsmouth, Ohio, all of my children have told me that they didn't expect me to make it. They thought they were seeing me alive for the last time. I must have looked terrible. But with good care by doctors and nurses and above all, prayers and the help of the Lord, I am here in West Virginia, slowly regaining my health and enjoying myself. It is almost a miracle. All of my 5 children have good families. Their mates all seem to like me. Their children are all polite and seem to love me. I just think I have the best family in the world. I miss Mom and Greg, Diana and Dale, but they want me to be happy and get well. They love me and I love them just as dearly as I do my 5 children and families by my first marriage. Just wish it was possible for them to be here with me. I'm so glad Greg has a good job and doing so well. And Mom, she's a wonderful person. She loves all of us and tries to keep peace in the family. She's a good housekeeper, cook, and just everything good a wife is supposed to be. I'm so glad she's able to help her mother and Cleve as she does. Sunday, 5:24. I think Jimmy is coming over this morning and sit with me while Chuck and family attend church. I wish I was able to go to church with them. I'll do some writing and taping while they're gone. Jimmy has been so good to come forward and help me in my emergency situation in regards to my oxygen and everything. It sure has helped me. I didn't know what I would have done. I don't know what I would have done without his help. He's A number 1 in my book. 7:33. Awake and feeling fine. Slept well. Nice and cool this morning. My feet are normal and I'm so pleased. Skies are real pretty. Quiet. Everyone sleeping soundly. I listened to a religious program, Herald of Truth. It was very good. I wrote for free booklet, Unity, from Abilene, Texas, and to have it mailed to me at Chris and Karen's when I am there. They never ask for any money in their broadcast. 64 degrees at this time in Huntington at 7:57 a.m. Chance of rain today, 30%. A nation under God. I spent Sunday in my room at Chuck's. Feet are back to normal and I am so pleased. Phyllis and I talked a long time today. She has all of my clothes clean and ready to go to Ronnie's this evening. For dinner we had steak, potato, tomato, cucumber, coffee. It was a real good dinner. Phyllis and David bought me 2 tapes each, $1.49 apiece, at Hex. Jimmy came by and told me he had paid for an H-tank, 50-hour tank of oxygen that Ronnie will pick up Monday, and paid for an E-tank Ronnie will take this evening. He also brought me a carton of cigarettes. Ronnie came by about 6 p.m. Phyllis had everything packed and ready to go. Ronnie and Brad loaded them in Ronnie's car. Brad called Hylon Pharmacy, and they delivered an E-tank to Ronnie's car, and the man brought a dolly to move the H-tank, the 50-hour, downstairs and load it in Ronnie's car. He came and loaded both tanks, and Jimmy had signed with MasterCharge. He still owes for one tank, total $51 through 7/2/79. I will file for Medicare Monday for $51. Check will be sent to me in Clearwater, and I'll mail it to Jimmy. We took a few pictures and loaded up and took off for Gallipolis Ferry. He stopped on way home and got us a soft ice cream. We arrived at his home okay. I played quartet tapes for them, some tapes of my boyhood in Hamlin and teaching experiences, and on our life at Midkiff. Cliff had mailed me several Pentel pens, as promised, to Ronnie, but sent them in Ronnie's name. They couldn't understand, but when I asked about them, Naomi said yes, but she didn't understand it either. He sent me a dozen of these colors, 2 dozen of blue, 1 green, and 1 red, 4 dozen in all. They are real good. I gave Naomi 3 to use for her own use. While the tapes were playing, I fell asleep, and Ronnie woke me up at 11 p.m. and helped get me in bed. I left my cigarettes and lighter in den and told him I wouldn't smoke in the bedroom. The H-tank was placed at the head of my bed, and I put the cannula on my nose and dropped off to sleep. I woke up about 3 a.m. Wanted a cigarette. I came into the den but couldn't find cigarettes and lighter. Ronnie had put them away. I was about to smoke in bed, but Ronnie got up and caught me. He got my cigarettes and lighter off the mantel and sat up with me while I smoked 3 cigarettes. Then back to bed until 5:30 when I woke up about 6:30 a.m. Ronnie came in and woke me up. Naomi was getting breakfast. I got dressed and came into den and got my papers to file for damages with United Airlines this morning for the 2 broken gauges on the E-tank in my flight from Tampa to Charleston. Also, my papers for oxygen bought at Hylon Pharmacy that had been paid for by Jimmy with his MasterCharge card. complete and in full up through 7/2/79, total $51. I had 1 egg, bacon, toast, and coffee for breakfast. Very good. My feet are back to normal. Ronald Jr. is going with us, and he had cereal for his breakfast. Ronnie loaded the good E-tank and the damaged tank, and we headed for Huntington. He makes a report to home office every Monday morning. Ronald and I stayed in the car while he was making his report. After making his report, we drove to Highland Pharmacy, and the clerk filled out a total Medicare form for $51 for me to file with Social Security. This is the total amount Jimmy has paid for with MasterCharge that I haven't filed for. Ronnie picked up a full H-tank 50 hours, and we went to Chuck's. I left my hat, pants, and some pajamas and a pair of shorts. We stopped at Stewart's for hot dog, potato chips, and root beer. Very good. On to Phyllis, and I picked up the clothes I had left Sunday evening. On our way to Charleston, we drove to airport, and I showed United Airlines the baggage ticket, the 2 broken gauges on the E-tank, and he said from the baggage ticket Inez had waived any damages to the regulator should it get broken, and that United was not liable for $104.75 damages since Inez had signed the waiver. The United representative was very nice, Mr. Jackson, and he gave me the address of Eastern Airlines in Miami, Florida, and suggested I write them explaining the situation, that I am a senior citizen, age 71, suffer from severe pulmonary emphysema, and must have oxygen most of the time, that I often ride Eastern, and for them to consider these facts when they make a decision in regard to the damages. And tell them that I have the 2 broken gauges as evidence that they are broken. Please carefully consider the good public relations your just decision in this matter can have once my senior citizen group in Clearwater hears about it. Thank you. Here, sincerely yours, James C. Cremines, 1529 South Evergreen Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33516. We drove to General and Katie's for a short visit. They were very glad to see us. Katie made us coffee. We talked for a while, took some pictures for my photo book. They have a beautiful home and beautiful furniture. General and I have always been very close as brothers, and we write weekly. He's a fine man. He and Katie retired from West Virginia teaching last year and are enjoying their retirement. He said he mowed his lawn once a week. We stayed about 45 minutes with them and then took off for home. We left Route 64 for Route 35 at Winfield to Point Pleasant, 30 miles from Winfield to Point Pleasant. We arrived home about 3:25. Ronnie fixed my respirator and I took it. It took me about 20 minutes. I am on the couch resting and writing for my tapes. A letter came for me today from Mom. She sent me $25 to use for spending money. She said she was happy I was feeling so well, said everything was okay at home. Greg mowed the lawn and it had had a good rain. The lawn looked real pretty. She had used the electric whip. Ed and Evelyn had told her about getting the letter from me. Mom said she was sorry Chris had been unable to make the trip to Clearwater at this time because of the gas situation. She said the gas situation is not good in Clearwater, and most of them close at noon. Most all are closed Saturday and Sunday. She was out hunting for gas this morning and found a station with a $5 limit, and she got $5 worth. Then, still looking for more gas, she found another station and had it filled up. So she's okay for a few